Hi, a lot of people. First of all, there's so many wonderful people here, and it's so good. Paolo, buongiorno. So good to see you.
Hi, Paolo.
Hi. Buongiorno, Paolo.
Come sta?
Unmute.
Buonasera.
Buonasera. I think we also have Amalia Basso here. Amalia is here, and I think we also have Marina Zorzi. So we have some of our Italian friends here. It's wonderful. Jennifer, it's so lovely to see you. Oh.
Ciao, ciao Diana.
Ciao cara.
Ciao.
Che piacere vederti.
Anche a me. Come stai? Ti vedo bene. Bravi, bravissimi.
Sono bravi, non è vero? Sono bravissimi.
Molto bravi.
Sono bravi. This
Molto interessante.
Oh, thank you. Mille grazie, perché è molto importante questi complimenti da Paolo e da Amalia. So to have these
Bravissimi, bravissimi.
From Paolo and Amalia.
In questi momenti difficili è molto importante sentirci.
Right.
Assolutamente d'accordo.
In these difficult times, it's wonderful to hear each other. D'accordo, certainly agreed to that, and that's so wonderful. So, grazie.
Diana, ciao, un caro saluto. Ciao. Sono Claudio.
Chi parla? Claudio?
Claudio. Ciao.
Oh, che piacere sentirti.
Ciao Diana.
Ciao caro, ciao.
Perché non c'è il video?
Ah, eccomi. Eccomi qui. Ciao. Come stai?
Bene. So, it's so wonderful to
Bene, un caro saluto a tutti.
Sì, tanto piacere.
Ciao.
Piacere vederti e vedere anche Amalia. Che piacere.
Grazie, anch'io. Un caro saluto a tutti.
Grazie. It's wonderful to see so many people and so many alums and former faculty of the program. It's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I'm so excited that you all participated. We had more than 60 people here at one point, so that's just wonderful. And we're going to record it. We have recorded it, and so we will be letting people posting it in various ways so people can still enjoy it. The people that couldn't make it, so bravi. It's just been such a wonderful event. I want to thank the presenters because you all did such a wonderful job. You prepared perfectly, you stayed on topic, you stayed within the schedule, and people asked good questions. It was all just wonderful. I just want to check if by any chance, I know that Francis Bronette, the president of Pratt, did show up, come for a while. Are you still here, Francis?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, okay. I thought she might, I was amazed that she could come at all. I'm sure it's very busy. And the other person I was hoping could have joined us was Kirk. But I think the provost, but he didn't. But we had the academic vice provost here, so that was wonderful. And it was wonderful to have her, and it was wonderful to have the chair of fine arts and the director of study abroad. But what's wonderful is this assembly of all the alums of the program. I see Hillary Thompson, who came 3 times and was my assistant on site, and Jennifer taught in Venice for 6 years. Just wonderful to see so many members of the group. And students that were there, along with some of the people who spoke, and Elisa. We could do another with another 8 students, who did wonderful work in Venice. So, this was lined up for an in-person thing. This was who could do it at the time. And now it became a Zoom event. But I want to say that wonderful as all this work was, there was, equally wonderful work done by many more of the alums when we were there. So, I want to mention that another person who's contributed a lot to the Venice program is Rachel Nogue. who didn't go on the program, but she's been our graphic designer forever, since when I was chair, and she was my office assistant. I didn't have a secretary. It was, that was long, you didn't have them then. And it was her idea to make it her senior thesis as a graphic designer to design the Venice brochure. And she has designed the one for 2021. It is either just been posted or about to be posted on our website. So God willing, we will have 2021 with this wonderful team of faculty members participating. And then I want to alert you to the idea that there are 3 more videos that we're going to post. One by Fei Ku, whom you've met today, is managing so much of this. One by, you already saw Michael's, and one by Joe, focused on something in San Marco, and one by Chris, who did some research in Venice when he was there, in terms of contemporary architecture that does or does not respect the fragility of Venice. So I think it was very comforting, as Amalia was saying, to have this event and to think about Venice. And it's comforting in these days to visually be able to virtually return to Venice and meditate on the serene Republic of Venice and on the exquisite city that has managed to carry on for so long. I think Venice is an inspiration to us all, both in its civic spirit, which continues, and in its physical, incredible beauty, which has so much richness that you have all explored with us today. The depth of all these talks was just wonderful, and reminds me again why I adore Venice. And I hope we can all be there soon together again. Now, I think if anybody, we still have 8 minutes. So if we want to go back to some of those questions that we didn't cover, we can still do that. Why not? We've been on time using all our questions carefully. So what were those questions that we missed?
Sure. I asked an extra one for Victoria. She has more, but I'll ask one for Sophia. And I think this is one that Joe really wanted me to ask, from Emily Neumeier. Ogival medallions appear in early Ottoman architecture, like the tile mosaics at the Green Mosque in Bursa. Is it possible that this visual culture created a receptivity to Venetian designs? Oh.
Sophia?
Okay, sorry, I forgot to unmute. Yes, that's entirely possible. That was a very popular format for both Turkish and both Ottoman and Venetian and Italian city-state, more generally speaking, very popular format. So in a short way, yes. I wasn't able to respond to her via direct message because I think she left the chat. So I'm glad you brought that back up.
Okay, so I'll just keep going back and forth between Victoria and Sophia's. So a question for Victoria from Nicola. Have you been influenced by the numerous studies about Botticelli's Primavera flowers while researching this topic? Can these threads intertwine at some point?
So I actually had responded we corresponded a little bit privately with Nicola. And at the time that I was researching this thesis, I wasn't able to, in a documentable way, show that he had seen those paintings. But I think it's very likely that he would have been aware of them because he was in his very enthusiastic student phase when he made these paintings. And something we discussed in our private messaging is that it seems to me there is a whole field of research that can be done in this vein. And so we talked a little bit about that, and Nicola had said that she plans on pursuing it on her own. So perhaps we'll have that to look forward to soon.
I could mention that Amalia Basso, who I hope she's still here since I'm mentioning this, she identified some plants in the frescoes that are hidden in San Sebastiano. I certainly didn't mention them in that video. They're hidden. They're on the monks' gallery. They would have been seen only by the monks. And they were plants known in the middle of the 16th century in Venice, some of them local, some of them no longer even extant. So, and she's published some of that, and I hope more of the publication of that will come out. But, you know, so I think it is a wonderful area to go into, this looking at fauna and botany, basically, over time. There was another question.
There are two more, and they're both for Sophia. So there's one from Peter. Again, as a follow-up, oh, sorry, I don't have the original question. I can look for that. As a follow-up, are certain patterns preferred for certain techniques, and do patterns transfer between techniques?
Oh,
does that not make sense anymore?
No, yes, that was a question. Yes, I actually did not, I was not able to DM him because he left the chat. But yes, regarding patterns preferred for certain techniques, yes. In the case of much of what we see developing under Mehmet II's patronage, these designs are being developed in the imperial workshops initially with miniature paintings within books, as well as tile work in mind, for example, Iznik tiles. So fluid curved lines are not preferred or desirable in Ottoman rugs and kilims, flat weaves, despite being present in textiles. Likewise, we do not see the sharp lines and geometric shapes that we see within rugs and kilims in silk. And regarding silk comparison between Venice and the Ottoman Empire, which was his other question, there are naturally weaving differences, so there are technical differences. The Ottoman silks did not ever achieve the same level of technical sophistication of the Venetian weavers when it came to, for example, double pile velvet, in which there were multiple levels of velvet of different height within the same textile, which gave it a powerful sense of depth. And likewise, the dyeing techniques were very different. So the Genoese, for example, were able to master very deep black, which the Venetians and the Ottomans were not able to achieve. So.
And the last question from Mashanake, do we find some of these motives at the representation of the textiles and other ornaments on the Venetian art of the same period, altarpieces, icons, or other pieces of art?
In the case of Ottoman textiles in Venetian altarpieces, we do often see them. However, they're usually rugs or flat weaves and not explicitly Ottoman silks being in those. There are some instances, though, of religious vestments made of Ottoman silk, such as a Bursa velvet cope that's in the collection at the Frari. So those were sometimes made out of Ottoman silk, as the cost of purchasing those foreign silks, the Ottoman silk, which was much more expensive than domestic manufactured silk, would have been communicating the wealth of the church.
Or a gift from somebody to the church.
Ostensibly.
A way of gift giving.
Yeah, a wealthy person.
Yeah, like a wealthy person giving something to the sacristy of the church.
Something very exclusive and expensive, yes.
Or like a chalice or a cope or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what I loved about all your talks today was that there was so much weaving in of all these different aspects of art history. The visual and the physical and the business and the trade and the religious elements and the social elements and all the kinds of communication that made it worse. So I just think it was so rich. I was impressed all over again with the work that you guys have done and how wonderfully Venice with its own richness supports that and inspires it. So I think we should have a toast. Everyone lift a glass. I hope you have something ready to lift a glass. Alla Serenissima, a Venezia, al ritorno, a tutti quanti, to everybody. Chin chin.
Chin chin.
Bravissimo, salute.
Salute.
Grazie mille.
Salute is very important in this setting. Salute.
Salute. Grazie mille, Diana.
Health to everybody. Bravi. And grazie ancora. Grazie.
A voi.